Now on the Locked On Celtics podcast, Jaylen Brown shows the rookie who's boss, and Payton Pritchard gets back to doing what he does best.
Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day, or in this case, twice a day. So thank you for being here on a regular basis, Monday through Friday, bonus podcasts when they play on weekends like they will this Friday. So make sure you're subscribed. Welcome to the show, new listeners, new viewers watching on YouTube. Thank you for choosing Locked On Celtics. If you're new, I'm John Karalis. I'm a beat writer covering the Celtics for Sports Illustrated's Celtics on SI. I've been covering the team for 20 years, doing this podcast for 10, and I've written a couple of books about the team. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5. You get $200 in bonus bets. If you win, make it a good one over at FanDuel. This podcast is pretty much all about the Boston Celtics win over the Dallas Mavericks. If you want Anfernee Simons trade reaction, why I made the joke about twice a day, I did a 15-minute reaction podcast to the Anfernee Simons trade to Chicago. That's already published if you haven't seen that yet. If you want that, you can go back and listen to it, watch that. And I'm sure there's much more. We're going to let this sit for a day. Tom Westerholm and I will be back at some point here. The Celtics do plan a back-to-back against the Houston Rockets. So there's a lot more to digest. We're still a couple of days away from the trade deadline, by the way. It's like all of the front offices thought the trade deadline was Tuesday, and somebody's like, no, you guys know it's Thursday. They go, well, I thought it was Tuesday. No, it's Thursday? Oh, wow. Well, all right. Well, we got these trades done. So a bunch of trades around the league. James Harden is going to go to Cleveland. That's a whole other thing. But we'll save all of that stuff for an off day. Thursday's podcast, Thursday going into Friday, is going to be like, that's going to be the big one, because as I flip around my hoodie, that's going to be the big one because Thursday afternoon is the trade deadline. So for now, let's keep it hoop. Let's talk about basketball. Later on, we'll talk about Cooper Flagg, and Celtics fouled a little too much. We'll get into some of the other individual performances, including Luka Garza getting hot from the top of the key. Well, let's start at the top with Jaylen Brown, who was incredible, absolutely incredible. 33 points, 11 rebounds, another double-double, his 9th double-double of the season. 6 of the double-doubles have come since January. So Jaylen Brown is out there chomping glass. He's out there rebounding like crazy, and that's exactly what we've needed him to do here for the Celtics. It's been a little bit of an adjustment period, I guess, and finally he's just said, you know what, I am going to get in there and grab some of these boards. And the Celtics have made a progression. They're now up. January, they were up over 70% defensive rebounding percentage. They started out the year back in October at like 64%. And that extra few has been huge. I've talked about that. Joe Mazzulla talked about that at the beginning of the season. Celtics just need to not suck at rebounding, and not sucking at defensive rebounding has been a big formula for their success. Jaylen has been a big part of that. So shout out to him for another 11 rebounds. Not normally part of his game. Amazing that he's turning it into part of his game. This is great. But the 33 points, whoo, baby, that was Jaylen just at his absolute best. In the middle of it all, there was a little bit of a stretch, and it wasn't just him; it was all of the Celtics. It felt like the Mavs were blocking. They must have had like 7 or 8 blocks in one. Now I know the box score says they didn't, but I don't know. My eyes are playing tricks on me, because every time they drove, it felt like they got blocked there for one stretch in the middle of this game. But aside from a little stretch where Jaylen was just putting his head down and kind of like driving into traffic and just kind of straight line driving without maybe he felt like he had a matchup that he liked, and he wasn't doing what he did at the other parts of this game. Aside from that little stretch, this was a basically perfect game to me from Jaylen Brown. The beginning of it, he was just aggressive. I think, and I wasn't there to ask him this, but I think superstars love to get up for games against highly touted rookies, because those guys come in with all of the attention, all of the spotlight. Everybody loves these guys. And a guy like Jaylen Brown, who's been in the league 10 years, it's like, hey, this is great. I'm sure you're really good. Also, this is my league. You got to earn it. And so I'm going to show you a little thing or two. So I think Jaylen and a lot of big time players get up for these games against Cooper Flagg. Now, Cooper Flagg is awesome, and I talk about that a little bit more later, but he was up for the task. But I think Jaylen was up for this game, especially because, this dude's from Maine. Everybody back home is watching this game, not just for, hey, let's go Celtics, but also let's go Cooper. And he just wants to let everybody know you're watching for Cooper, but this is still the Jaylen Brown show. And I love it. I think it's great. I think it's I want to see these types of battles. I want to see these types of duels. I like to see Jaylen in there right away, picking Cooper up right away, poking the ball free, getting a steal in a pick six dunk. That's what I want to see. If I'm a rookie, that's what I would want to get. I want to get your absolute best. You want to prove something to me? Come prove it. And I think from a Cooper Flagg perspective, it's, show me what you got. And I'm going to give it back to you in the same way. But also, I always would want to know, how much room is there between me and the person who's better than me? How much room do I have to make up? Am I right there with you? Am I 5 steps behind you, 10 steps behind you? If I'm that far behind you, all right, well, I better get into the, into the gym at night. I better get into that weight room. I better get into that film room. And I know. And if I'm right there with you, now I know what I got to do to get past you. That type of stuff. I love that little game within the game. And so I think Jaylen was really, really up for this game, and he came out and he showed it. And the way he played was just beautiful. The passes he made to Neemias Queta, third quarter, he had a couple of passes. It was just incredible footwork and then recognition to get Nemi a couple of buckets. I joked earlier in the season, and Jaylen kind of almost confirmed it, because he was joking about the salsa dancing. I was joking that Jaylen had been taking dance classes because of his footwork. His footwork has been incredible this year. So I think Jaylen's performance in this game was just phenomenal. So I don't know what else to say about that other than Jaylen's been great. His 27th 30-point game of the season. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before. 27 30-point game of the season. He is on a pace to get into the mid-40s, and Jayson Tatum's record is 42. Most 30-point games in a season, 42 by Jayson Tatum. So Jaylen has a chance to go and break that. Now, Jaylen has also, because of this season, gotten up over 100 30-point games for his career. There's 5 players now that have done that in Celtics history. It's Jaylen, it's Jayson, it's Paul Pierce, Larry Bird, and John Havlicek. That's incredible. This is incredible. And I think he's there with the legends. I hope he finishes his career, or I shouldn't say that, because I know nobody finishes their career where they started. I hope he has a few more years in Boston where he can climb up the ladder. I mean, I do hope he finishes his career here. I'd like to see him and Jayson finish their careers in Boston, but that just never happens anymore. I want to see him do enough where he establishes himself as just a no doubt all-time great. And I don't hear him in that conversation yet, but he should be in that conversation. Jayson's going to be in that conversation too. He is in that conversation, I think, or entering that conversation, depending on how people think, right? Maybe you don't want to start that conversation right now at their age, but they've won a championship, man. If they could go win another one, that would be incredible. Okay, so Jaylen was great. Payton Pritchard, also great, but in a different role. Payton Pritchard came off the bench. Let's talk about that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so it's one last weekend of football over there on FanDuel. So whether you're rolling with the favorites, which is the Seattle Seahawks, if you're rolling with the underdogs, which is the New England Patriots, I'd be rolling with the underdogs. But whichever one it is, at Super Bowl 60, FanDuel's making sure you're right in the middle with a special offer just in time for this incredibly historic big game. So if you are a new customer, you bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets. So if you win, $5, make it a good one. If you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. It's a great deal and the perfect way to cap off the season to make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. So make it count. Because after the Super Bowl, football season is over, so it's the last call for football. An official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. When you sign up, they're going to ask you, set your limit, set your budget. Please do so. Set it at whatever your disposable income is, whatever you can afford to lose. Do that at FanDuel.com. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. The trade deadline right around the corner. It's Thursday afternoon. So you can get a free month thanks to our new deal. Use the code DEADLINE before the deadline, and you get a free month, $5 off. So if you want a group chat to keep up with the chaos, you can join ours. The Everydayer Club gets you access to a group chat on Discord just for Celtics fans, plus national chats, and you get ad-free versions of this show. So sign up. By the trade deadline, use the code DEADLINE. You get the link in the show notes. It's lockedonceltics.supercast.com, lockedonceltics.supercast.com. Payton Pritchard came off the bench, and it would make sense. Part of it, I thought, like, okay, Dallas has some size. You need Payton Pritchard. You know, maybe you don't want to put Payton Pritchard in that situation. Also, the Celtics don't have Anfernee Simons anymore, so you lose a ball handler. So you really need to stagger Derrick White and Payton Pritchard. Pritchard came off the bench, came off just as hot as Jaylen Brown. I wonder if Payton Pritchard was motivated by the Caitlin Clark stuff, which I think might have been overblown. If you didn't see it, hear it, Caitlin Clark was on the NBC broadcast, Peacock broadcast, and Reggie Miller compared her to Payton Pritchard. And I think in a very complimentary way, but also, listen, I understand if you're Caitlin Clark and you are, a superstar, a WNBA superstar, you want to be compared to the superstars. And when somebody compares you to Payton Pritchard, you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was bigger than that. But in every way that was mentioned, it was incredibly complimentary. And the way Payton Pritchard played in this game, I would be like, yes, please. I want to be like that guy all day long. So I think, I don't know that he was motivated by that stuff, but I would be. And so he came out and was incredible. I made the joke on Sports Illustrated that if I knew how, I would take the video, isolate Payton Pritchard of him driving and all his footwork and step throughs and all that stuff. And I would just put it in an old Gene Kelly movie where he's tap dancing through some scenario. And you could probably match them up in a pretty cool way because Pritchard was out there dancing and stepping and left and right and up and down and stepping through. And it was really just between him and Jaylen, first of all, 59 combined points between him and Jaylen. This was a dicing of the Dallas Mavericks defense. They had you going one way, and then once you were going this way, stop, spin, or stop, up fake, step through. Some of it was for an assist, but that kind of Payton Pritchard, that guy is just unstoppable. 26.7 assists, 4 rebounds. This, I think, is going to be, I don't know if a long term, but as I mentioned in the Simons reaction podcast, if Jayson Tatum is back, then I wonder how, like, the impact throughout the team, right? Like, if the thought process is Tatum is coming back, so now you get him a stretch big, and now maybe Pritchard goes to the bench because you have, I don't know how they're going to craft their starting lineup, but we'll see what happens when the trade deadline is over. But Derrick, Jaylen, Jayson is your 1, 2, 3. You need a 4 in there who can be, it could be Jordan Walsh, it could be Baylor Shireman, it could be Sam Hauser, and then your 5 would be Vucevic. And if it's Hauser at your 4, then you've got spacing everywhere. I mean, 5 out spacing, but obviously Vooch can still play in that dunker spot and all of that. And with that spacing and with that lineup, you need a ball handler to come in off the bench. And if you don't pick one up, then you need to use what you have. And so Pritchard going to the bench makes sense here. And so it might be a long-term just return to what he has. And Pritchard was talking about it after the game. When you start, you have to make sure, like, Jaylen gets a touch and Jayson will have to get a touch, but it would be Derrick White or whomever. You do have to pick your spots a little bit more. When you come in off the bench and you're coming in for Derrick and Jaylen's coming off the floor, you have a lot more leeway. Just, hey, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do all the step through stuff, get into that 10 feet, within 10 feet of the basket and see if I can get all the way to the rim, maybe hit a turnaround fadeaway, all of that stuff. You can be more of Payton Pritchard, who is a tremendous ISO scorer. That's his strength. So I think Pritchard going to the bench is going to be maybe a bit of a longer term thing. You make up for what you lost in Anfernee Simons with Pritchard being the scoring punch off the bench. So it starts to snap a little bit more into place. As much as I loved the idea of Simons sticking around and being the 6th man, you can see the vision here of, well, if Payton Pritchard's going to be the 6th man, maybe Derrick White goes back to being catch and shoot Derrick White. It starts to, the fit starts to make a little bit more sense this way. So I get it. And Pritchard was, fantastic here. And so was Luka Garza, by the way. The bench scoring was 44-22 Boston. Garza was the other part of the 44. Pritchard had 26, and Garza had 16 off of 4 of 4 from 3 and a couple of other putbacks, finishes around the rim. Garza pick and pop. I think you ultimately, with now Vucevic, Keita, who I'll talk about in a second, and Garza, you have different kind of skill sets, and Garza is going to be a guy now that probably will see his minutes kind of slip a bit. And he played 20 minutes in this game. He probably won't get as much time moving forward, but his ability to go in there and play hard and to hit those shots, especially top of the key 3-pointers, it's a nice little weapon to have off the bench. And he's always going to be ready. He plays hard. He plays great. He's not going to be discouraged by losing some time. He's going to go out there and give you everything he's got. So in this game, those 3 guys, it really was Jaylen, Pritchard, and Garza that did all of the damage, the big time damage. But they weren't the only ones. You had a lot of other guys. I'll get into more individual performances, some of the downside stuff as well, including fouls like crazy and giving up 33 fourth quarter points. That was not great. So I'll talk about all of that stuff when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Quo. It's a new year, new systems, and this is when a lot of us take a look at the messier parts of how you run your business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make, and that's why today's show is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo. It's a smarter way to run your business communications, because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I know from the customer side, the thing I want when I'm talking to multiple people is, are you all on the same page? Do you know what I've been saying? I can't tell you enough how many times I said, is this in your notes? You should see this. I've had this conversation with people before. Now with Quo, your whole team can call and text from one number, so nothing gets missed. They all see the full conversation thread, so it makes replies faster and more personal, and it works right from your phone or computer. And their smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise that Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in the arena watching a game. The crowd, the energy of the moment, when they make a run, when somebody goes off and you're just like, wow, he did what? That is amazing. Getting tickets to be in there, it's not always been so simple. Game Time is the go-to app for getting tickets fast. I've used Game Time. It's gotten me into many different arenas for different sports, for different events. And so I know that it's super easy because the price that you see is the price you're going to pay. Whatever number you see there, there's no surprise fees when you check out. Also, when you don't know what sections are what in an arena, it just shows you what you're going to see when you buy the ticket. Like, you can look at the view right on the app. And if you want to save a couple of bucks, use the zone deal. You choose the section, they pick the seats. You get a little bit of a deal there. So quick, intuitive, stress-free, start to finish. I've done it before. You should do it too, because you can take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKED ON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, if you're using the web app, it's gametime.co. Gametime.co, not .com. Gametime.co. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Check out Locked On NBA Game Nights. Danny Cunningham's filling in for me. I think the Cavs made a trade, so I don't even know what he's doing. It's crazy. But I know Jake Madison is going to be there covering all the games. I make an appearance there via video, so go check it out. Locked On NBA Game Night. All the games covered all night long, every night, 7 days a week. So go check that out wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you found this show. Plus, you get the bonus Locked On NBA podcast, which drops in the afternoons, covering all the big stories. Tons of trade deadline talk there. Individual performances, just from top to bottom. Sam Hauser, another, I think, good game. Look, Cooper Flagg, and I'm going to get to Cooper Flagg in a second. 36 points, 12 of 24 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3, 10 of 11 from the line, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks. He had an incredible game. It's hard to look at those numbers and say, Sam Hauser did a decent job on him, but Sam Hauser did a decent job on him until the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, the fouls were just out of control. And this is a problem for the Celtics. And it was so much of a problem that after the game, Joe Mazzulla was asked about it, and he couldn't even come up with a typical Joe Mazzulla sidestep, kind of Euro step away from the question. He just like, we just fouled them. We just fouled them all. The Celtics committed eight personal fouls. in the fourth quarter alone. That gave them 10 free throws. They were 9 of 10 from the line in the fourth quarter. That's why they gave up 33 points in the fourth, on top of 40% shooting from the field, from three. So the Celtics just a little out of control there, a little handsy, a little too much in the fourth quarter. But prior to that, I thought Sam Hauser did a pretty good job defensively. I think Sam has turned into just a solid overall basketball player this year. He's just done a little bit more, showcased a little bit more, and I just like how he's playing. Neemias Queta did a good job, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block. Just a typical Queta game. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamic now with him. I'm expecting him to come off the bench when Vucevic gets here. Maybe not right away, but eventually. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I can't imagine you trade for Vucevic and not have him start. But it's going to be interesting to see the Queta dynamic. I think this makes the Celtics front court pretty good. But we'll see. Right now, Queta has played well. He was really good positioning, defending, all of that stuff. Baylor Shireman got the start and was a team high plus 16 despite not shooting well. Thought he and Hugo Gonzalez were both good, both big positives despite not shooting well. They combined to be 2 of 11 from the field. They were 1 of 6. That was the one shot that Baylor hit. They did not shoot well, but they each got 6 rebounds. They each had a couple of assists. They each had a steal. Baylor had a block. I think they both did their jobs very well. Moving the ball, Hugo Gonzalez, he's going to be, I think, a really good player, Hugo. And Baylor has shown, a good amount here. He does need to hit shots. I mean, they're going to need to hit shots for sure. But when you're doing other positive things without hitting shots and are a plus when you're not hitting shots, I think that's really good. Derrick White needs to hit shots. Now he's a plus 14. He had 11 points. He got going a little bit at the end. He had 11 points, 8 assists, a couple of rebounds, no steals, no blocks, but he did play some pretty good defense. 4 of 13 overall, 1 of 8 from 3. At some point, Derrick is going to need to start hitting these shots. That there's just no doubt about it. And the plus minus is great, but when you get 13 shots, you got to make a couple more, just a couple more, right? 6 of 13 is so much better than 4 of 13. 3 of 8 from 3 is so much better than 1 of 8 from 3. And it's just 2 shots. It's just 2, but it feels so much better. And if it's 2 more 3-pointers and it's a 16-point game and maybe the biggest lead gets close to 30 and it just changes a little bit. I have a very high opinion of Derrick White. I think he's an amazing basketball player. And even when he's not hitting shots, he does so much that is positive on the basketball court. The defense, they even had him do a jump ball. Like Jaylen with his hamstring and knee, he didn't want to do the jump ball. Garza was on the floor. Garza can't do a jump ball. Like, I might beat Garza on a jump ball, which absolutely, that's a complete farce. I would never beat Garza on a jump ball. I am almost 53. I'm twice as big as I was when I was playing. I can't jump over a piece of paper anymore. But anyway, my joke stands. So Derrick White went in there and got the jump ball and almost got it. He almost got it. I have an extraordinary high opinion of Derrick White. Like, he can do almost no wrong in my eyes. But you got to hit some shots. Sometimes it just boils down to, I know you're in a slump, buddy, but you gotta hit some shots. And I think it's affecting him. He had just 3 turnovers, but I can't remember the one. There was one, it was a lob. I think he was trying to throw, no, it was an entry pass, kind of lob to Neemias Queta that Cato was going one way and the pass was going the other. And I don't even know whose it was, but Derrick had his hands on his head. It's like, I think he was in his own head a little bit. So need Derrick to calm down, go out there, just hit some shots. That's it for the Celtics. Cooper Flagg, just got to mention this. For a kid who should still be in college, 19 years old, this is like, and I've seen him play before, but this stretch that he's on, this 3-game stretch is the most scored by a teenager in 3 games. It's, a weird combination of slide, but the 3 games that he's just put forward, and this one especially, I can't wait to see what happens when he actually knows what he's doing out there in the NBA. This is him still figuring out the NBA. This is him still figuring out what it's like to be in the league and the nuance and the way the game is called and the way people approach you and the way you're being defended and all that stuff. He's doing this stuff while figuring it out. Oh my God, what's going to happen when he figures it out? This is crazy. The league right now, like the epicenter of the league, is in that Texas, Oklahoma, Midwest. It stretches into Denver a little bit. That's where the league really is. Wembanyama, Cooper Flagg, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, defending champion Thunder. You want to go further north and go into Minneapolis, you can go in Anthony Edwards, who I think is a bit of a media darling, but is still really good. That the middle of America is this epicenter, and you still have the Celtics on the one side, and the sad fact is that the window for the Celtics it's being held open, but it's in the middle of closing. The Celtics have a few years before things start to change. Jaylen Brown's going to be in his mid-30s. Like I said, next year is going to be 30. He's already said that he doesn't want to play past 34, 35. And who knows how that goes? Who knows where the league goes, CBA-wise, all of that stuff. At some point, the Celtics, they're already a little expensive. I'm just saying, the time is now for Boston. The time is now for Boston. Whenever that window closes at the time where it's like Jaylen's in his mid-30s and Jayson's getting into his mid-30s and the Celtics have to make some decisions about their future, Cooper Flagg is going to be 23 and Victor Wembanyama is going to be 23, 24, 20, whatever, 25. And the league is just going to be screwed. It's just going to be Dallas versus San Antonio in all of the Western Conference Finals. It's going to be nuts. Plus whatever OKC is doing. It's wild to see this kid be this good, this fast. I guess that's all I'm going to say. That was, he's a fun guy to watch. If you don't watch enough Dallas Mavericks games, you should be watching Cooper Flagg. All right, Celtics get the win. Houston on the back-to-back, that's tough. That's going to be a tough back-to-back, no doubt. We'll see. We'll see what the Celtics do trade-wise. If there is another trade, and as I say it, I'm always thinking like, as I'm talking, let me just log in and see if Shams has said anything. And right now, nothing new trade-wise. Okay, this is good. So I didn't miss anything while I was doing this podcast. So post-game pod, if anything breaks, maybe a bonus pod, depending on when it happens. Maybe it'll be part of the post-game pod. I don't know. But the goal is to do a bonus when we can. So whatever happens, I'll have you covered here I'll have it covered on Sports Illustrated on the Celtics on SI page. So make sure you're following me there, following me here. Reminder, I did have a Q&A. I did answer trade questions on Celtics on SI. I do have much more mailbag stuff to get to at some point, which I will probably next week, probably during the All-Star break. JohnKaralis.com/mailbag is where you get those questions in. If you want to become part of the Everydayer Club, if you're with me every Monday through Friday, thank you. I appreciate that. Join the club, $5 a month, $50 for the year, saves you a little bit. You want $5 off, use the code DEADLINE before the trade deadline and sign up at LockedOnCeltics.supercast.com. Now, please share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.